Okay, today we're going to be covering a couple different topics, some of which I've wanted to talk about for some time, and some of which were sparked recently. But the primary cause for this video was a newer viewer, and we had a good chat. They reached out to me on Discord after watching some of my videos and some of my streams recently, and they felt the need to tell me that everything I did was condescending, and I was overly critical, and they were curious if I could see how I come off that way. Now, obviously the answer is yes, but I don't care. But nonetheless, it was a good stop and ponder moment to question, am I the asshole? Or is the viewers who are out of touch? And I'll get to that topic in a moment, but I want to talk about a couple other things first. And the first thing we'll go with here is people that do this. Comments like these haunt me. I think it's fucking stupid. Normally because a lot of the people that say shit like this are already stellar decorators, but also because it's just a fucking stupid thing to say. Now, someone's probably going to criticize me for saying that I can't say that someone's feelings of insecurity are stupid, but I can. And I'm going to illustrate how and why. Every time someone comments this, I always say, everyone has to start somewhere, because they do. This godforsaken atrocity is my first dojo project. Unfortunately, I am responsible for that creation. I regret it to this day. It took me about 6 hours to put together, but that is my first dojo project. It is not pretty. It is not worth anyone's time, okay? This is literally where everyone starts, regardless of if they have some art background that somehow helps them, which usually it doesn't. People with art backgrounds I've seen suck a dick. But the point is, no one pops out of the womb and has just a really fucking good dojo or does well right off the bat. It just doesn't fucking happen. Now, the next day, or a couple days later, I did another room. Now, you might be deceived into thinking that looks kind of neat, but I didn't even do that by myself. I had help. I didn't even know rotation snap existed at this point. Now, I started to make more and more rooms as time went on that month, and I dipped my toes into sculpting, but even then it was still super scuffed, like Nameless King, God forbid, it looks like some scuffed-ass Teletubby with an afro and a golden skirt, and nothing ended up looking remotely decent until I started getting to things like the Minotaur, the Headless Horseman, or Valhazak. Now obviously there's a very stark contrast between that shitty-ass Excalibur sculpt and Valhazak. I hope the Excalibur song is stuck in your head, by the way, fuck you. But what people are neglecting when they see these pictures is I had logged about 350 hours in the dojo between these two projects. It's not like I up and magically got better. I just spent all of my free time that month dicking around with the dojo. I was hooked. I'm not proud of that, but that's what happened. And then I went on to make different things, and I had spent even longer in the dojo. I don't know the exact amount of time I've spent, but I've obviously spent thousands of hours at this point. Like, at no point in this was I magically just better. It wasn't because of talent or anything like that. It was because I literally worked to improve this shit. So it's frustrating for me to see these comments, because you're saying that, oh, I'll delete my dojo, or oh, I feel like shit, my dojo's garbage. Your dojo might be garbage. Your dojo might suck a dick, and that's okay. What you need to understand is that you're comparing yourself at your part in your process, where you might be, 30 hours in, and you're comparing it to someone who has thousands. And that is a moronic comparison, because the whole point of my channel is to try and help bridge the gap between where you are now and where I am, so that way you don't have to go through that entire process and suffer like I did, okay? I'm not trying to say I'm Jesus or anything, but, and obviously, not everyone's gonna take the same amount of time I did. And hopefully my guide videos can help bridge that gap. But you should also recognize that even with my guide videos, you still might take that long, and that's okay. But don't compare yourself to another. You are where you're at. They are where they're at. It's okay if you're not where they're at. I don't know. It really makes me sad to see that. And I understand that I obviously can't change the way that some of you think, and I can't help your insecurities. I can't. But next time you see a really cool dojo project, instead of thinking, wow, I suck dick, try to instead think, wow, that is a really cool project. How can I incorporate something here into my future builds? Because it's the people that do that really improve. And it's been really interesting. And I know I'm beating a dead horse with this here, and I've said this repeatedly, but it's been great to watch people in the Discord go through their process and start where they suck a dick, and even they recognize it, but then they get to a point where they're better than a lot of people I know. Some are better than me. That's how it works. And to tie into the second point of me being condescending and hypercritical, yes, I am, but I also don't see how that's an issue. If you want praise every time someone visits your dojo, find a rando who's never touched decoration before, or watch Primetime. There are literally people who are upset just because I don't suck their dick when I visit their dojo. Now, I can understand that you think I'm hypercritical. I get that. Because I am, and I'll point out when I see things wrong. But at the same time, I almost always point out what exactly is wrong, why it's wrong, how it could be fixed, and where they can learn to do so, if I don't just straight up explain how on the stream. Rarely do I ever go out of my way to just shit on someone's work. If I'm critical of your dojo when I visit, it's because I think you can do better. If you're upset with that, it's because you're not willing to try. Okay? Like, what the fuck? Ugh. And then, I mean, like, obviously there are going to be some people that I criticize that think they know better. And, you know, that could be the case. I'm not the god of decorating. I've already acknowledged this many times. There are many people who are better than I am. I am just someone who happens to know a fair amount, who tries to help others improve. That is the long and short of it. Speaking of dojo visits and contest entries as well, we'll tie into the third point. This is something that has... this is a recurring complaint, but it's also kind of come up recently. And there was someone who had suggested I was anesthetized with my sensitivity to dojo projects and dojo contest entries, simply because I don't pog in reaction to everything that you guys do. I will give credit where credit is due. If you plated your walls with Oric and filigree, I'm not gonna give a shit. I'm gonna tell you it's trash and move on with my day. If you made a shitty sculpt, I'm gonna tell you it's scuffed. I might identify a few points of extra notable scuff, but other than that, I will also continue to move on with my day. If you started to make something cohesive, I will say, hey, this looks nice. I might not even smile. I'm not gonna pog. Now, if you start making really good shit, that's when I'm gonna start smiling, because that is when I am truly happy to see someone go above and beyond the norm to make something worthwhile. And then there's the crazy people who make things that will be praised even outside of Warframe from people who have no clue what dojo decoration is. Now that is where I will pog, but otherwise do not expect me to be DE. I'm not gonna do a pog mouth every single time you guys show me your work. DE does that because they are like a mother who is happy to see their child draw anything. They're going to showcase it, they're going to butter it up, they're going to tell you you did great. And I'm not saying that you aren't doing great, but their love is literally unconditional in this sense. I don't know why people expect me to do that, because I'm not DE. There was one stream in particular, I don't know if anyone remembers this, but during the dojo visit, I tried to only say nice things, period. And besides the fact that I was laughing so hard I couldn't even finish, it actually made the viewers so uncomfortable they asked me to stop. You guys do not watch me to go, oh. You don't. You guys watch me to give an honest opinion about your work. You cannot possibly be upset that I give an opinion contrary to your self-inflated idea of how you should be considered. I don't know. I don't really want this to be an antagonizing video. It just boils down to people needing to understand that I cannot praise everyone and suck your dick and effectively try and predict winners on a stream like that. Like, it's just not gonna work. I have to decide what is better. Otherwise, that is basically all I wanted to say. I know everyone's not gonna agree with me, but really I just want people to, one, stop being so hard on themselves. Like, you guys are all doing great, honestly. And two, don't expect me to blindly praise everything you do. If you're starting out, great. You're starting out, but just don't expect real praise from me unless you actually do something worthwhile. I don't give out participation trophies.